At this time, I'd like to remind you that I'm not your financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. My YouTube channel is for entertainment purposes only and to document my journey in the crypto space. I encourage you to pause the video at this time to read the full disclaimer. And now let's get on with the show. Okay, guys. Anybody who typically follows my YouTube channel knows that I don't normally do kind of back-to-back videos in the same day, just because I try and do stuff that I'm following and things that I'm getting into, but I also just don't want to blast out a video every single day. But in this case, I feel like I kind of need to. I don't know if anybody's been following my channel, probably is familiar with hourglass contracts and things of that nature, where you buy a certain amount of a token on a platform. That token with each buy goes up 1%. Typically, it's 1/1000th of a penny or something along those lines. And the more that people buy, the higher the price goes. You can then sell those tokens because the sell price will actually rise as well. The sell is always lower than the buy. Simply because every transaction that you go into, it takes 10% or 50% or some kind of percent that the site warrants. And so in reality, a lot of times, like for instance, this particular one, Tewkenaire, I think it takes 10% in and 10% out. So it's technically a percentage of 20% total. All buys, if you have tokens, you actually get fed dividends. So basically everybody who buys after you while you hold the token you purchased, you get dividends from that. And that's where that 10% buy and sell come from. Same thing goes that as people buy, if they sell, then you get a percentage of all those sells as dividends as well. So, and again, I don't normally do back-to-back videos, but I feel like, if you haven't gotten to one of these, or if you have in the past and you've been burned, I feel like, if it's time to get bitten by the FOMO bug, now's the time for this Tewkenaire. So this is actually Trayvon James. If anybody's been in crypto for a while, you know Trayvon James. He's very well known in the space, but this was his own dapp that he created. And so obviously there's a lot of FUD. There's a lot of people that think he's a scammer. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of talk of good and bad about him. I personally have nothing against the guy. I've been following him for a very, very long time, actually. And so when I saw this coming out, I watched, I said, you know what, I don't have much to give, but I'll give something, just to kind of get into it, because if it does take off and he plays it right, then this could be a juggernaut. Well, the reason I'm making this video is exactly that. It is going to take off, and it's, call it a gut feeling, call it a, whatever you want to call it. But if you haven't gotten in yet, you need to really consider getting into Tewkenaire, and here's the reason why. I've been tracking my own stats, and actually I haven't been able to track it as quick as it's been changing, to be honest with you. So my original buy-in, and you can look down here. So this is my total deposited is 1,050 TRX. Not a whole lot, but again, I'm dealing with my own value. I've withdrawn 48 TRX worth. I currently hold 370.46 of the tokens. This is my current dividends. He's already partnered this platform with the Frags website, which you guys have, if you haven't been part of Frags, you should come check it out as well. I actually have Frags. I totally forgot about it until this Tewkenaire thing came, and I came over here and I just realized how much Frags I actually have, and I actually have a pretty good amount. I guess that's the pleasure of going into these platforms that are successful and forgetting about them. So anyways, I'm going to put my referral link below, and let me get back on track. I'm sorry I'm rambling here. So I tried to track it. I want to track it as I go. So I put in my original 1,000 when the contract started. While it was running up, which it got up to about 17 million, if I remember, before it started going down, I was basically just rolling. So as people were buying in and this was jumping up, I was just hitting roll, 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 and kicking it over. Look at that, just went up to 1 as we were talking. Kicking it over, kicking it over, kicking it over. Ultimately, that turned out to be 1,050. So I have currently, now I've actually since then rolled in more. I'm going to have to update this. Must just be deposit. Yeah, total deposited. At any rate, so I'll tweak these numbers and such. So I had 1,000. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of that. I've since pulled out 48, which according to my calculations, 49.2. So I must be off. These must not have gone through. 48, 1050. The last time I looked, okay, so last time I updated this, it was at 9,545,428. It is now almost 10 million. So it's actually sitting at 996109. So let's change this. So oops. That. Let's drop this here. And let's take this new value. This is just my own personal tracking sheet. So it's gone up almost 400,000. The cost in was previously 4.371. It is now 4.874. That's still going up. And obviously the cost out, 3.988. 3.988. That's obviously going up as well. So have I gotten my return on investment? So look here. If I sold now 100, well, actually, let me update this even more. So I've put in 1050. I've pulled out 48. Don't forget I have these tokens. I have 370.46. Let's put this over here, 370.46. So if I sold my tokens, I would get 1,477.5 Tron. 1,477.50. 1,477.5. So I'm actually up. I'm technically up 45.29% if I sold everything. So in essence, I'm getting back, which makes about sense because once I hit 1,500, I'll be 150%, and you can sell out. Now this, I'm not going to sell it. So these are my currently. I haven't figured out this equation yet. I'm gonna start working on the frags that come with it. But let me get back on track. I apologize, I'm rambling. I normally try to prepare these a little bit better. The reason I'm saying if you haven't FOMO'd in yet, you should. For one, it's about to hit that 10 million mark, and once it hits this 10 million, it's going to go over and it's keep skyrocketing. He already has a partnership with the Frag token, which is already an established app that's very, very successful. Then, after I posted my earlier video from today about Ace Wins, if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's in my YouTube channel. I'll put a link below. I go over to his Telegram where I'm posting things, and look here, 2 more partners confirmed. So this was at 1 o'clock my time. So 2 more partners confirmed. The reason he's saying 2 more is because he already has a partner set up, which, if I remember, I think it's like guppy.io, I want to say. I'll know when the screen pops up here. No, that's not it. Anyways, it's something called Guppy, or maybe it's Gupp.io. Anyways, I have no idea what it is, but it is obviously he already has that link. He's got 2 more in the works, which he now has just confirmed in YouTube that he has 2 more confirmed. What does that mean? When these partnerships occur, one of 2 things are going to happen. Here you go. Don't want to release the name until they plug in and are feeding Tewkenaire. That'll be in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So what does this mean? Typically, so like what he did with Frags, every time you purchased the tokens or tokens, you got 1% of that buy in Frags automatically. That's what this value right here is. Frags are in your TRX wallet. That TRX wallet obviously is linked to Frags, and then you can do what you want with it over here, and play with it and such. So these other dapps that he's partnered with, which he's already got 3, or he's got 1 Frags, 2 more in the works, and then he said there's a 4th, or the Guppy one is the 4th one. So it's already 4 partnerships. It's either going to be one of 2 things. As we buy, you'll either get free, or not free, but a percentage of your buys will go toward those other dapps, in essence, and trying to make you money. Or when people use those dapps, they kick it over to tokens and start feeding the tokens, meaning the more you hold, the more you get. The ecosystem is going to just keep feeding into the Tewkenaire, giving more dividends for those that are holding. Now, on top of that, also, I was going through my typical YouTube stuff. So this is actually the one I just did a moment ago, but there is a YouTube video that Trevon just put out earlier that he's actually also working on games themselves that he and his developer are dealing with that are going to be feeding into this as well. So, I mean, let's call it what it is. He loves those mining games. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but there's a really good chance it might be one of those mining things, and mining games, especially if it's a Trevon-driven one, he's probably going to tweak it to be exactly what he wants. So anyway, if you haven't FOMO'd in yet, I feel like this is going to be one. If you weren't part of Proof of Weekends, if you weren't part of P3V on the Tron network, the daily divs back in the day, there's a lot of these that have been very, very successful, but none of them couldn't quite master that partnership, if that makes sense. They couldn't quite master those links of feeding and basically, these links are going to draw in players from other places. It's going to give free exposure because anybody in Tewkenaire is going to promote those other ones because it feeds into these divs. Trayvon himself will likely promote these other ones as well, which we know when he promotes, it drives things up. So if you haven't FOMO'd in yet, I know I keep saying it, now's the time. It's not going to be too late. This sell price hasn't even broken 4 yet. This is getting close to breaking 5. If it's anything like proof of weak hands or P3D, then we're just scratching the surface here. I mean, I know people who made a ton of money on those other ones in their heyday. So that's about all I got to say for now. So I'm going to put my link below. If you guys haven't jumped in, I suggest you do. And I hope all is well, and everybody have a good one.